Welcome to the Daily Podcast. My name is Michelle Sinclair. I am a divine healer, meaning I help my clients to heal for physical ailments or diseases, things like this, or emotional wounds very quickly. And this is all done through soul healing. All the work that we do is on a subconscious soul level. So we're just going to start today with a quote. So, they will become as we are if they eat from the tree of the fruit of knowledge. Now, each of us has our own spiritual gifts. We're born with them, and some of us are very intuitive when we are really little, and some of us are not. It really depends on, a lot of it has to do with our parents. So there's many different spiritual gifts. And now, for some of us, it is seeing, so meaning there would be visions. This is called being clairvoyant. Then there's clairaudient, so this would be if you hear things. There's kinesthetic, meaning you're a feeler. There's just, knowing things that are going to happen. And each of us kind of have our gift, and we probably use one more than the others. But you can actually train yourself to be good at all of these gifts through practice. Just like, you're not good at playing soccer if you don't play soccer, but if you play a lot, you're going to get real good at it because, it's soccer. So anyways, this is exactly the same. There's no people here on this planet that do not have gifts. And if you have a particular gift and you're like, yeah, but I don't got this one, it is only because you have not practiced it yet, and probably because you don't know how. So if that's something that you're curious about, there's a book called You Are Psychic by Pete Sanders. He went to MIT and he was doing a paper, and he realized, some people have these psychic gifts, how come we all don't? And realized that, they got the same brain as you got, so clearly this is a brain issue, and that this is something that should and could be taught. And so he figured out exactly how to do it. So if there's any of the gifts that you think that you don't have, he'll teach you. He'll teach you in the book, and it's the easiest thing to read. But why am I talking about this? I'm talking about this because the church has taken our spiritual gifts. Some of the churches, not all of the churches, has taken our spiritual gift, and they have told us that it is evil, that our beautiful divine gifts. Now they'll say, oh, no, as long as you're using it in the church, then it's okay. But if you use it outside the church, then it's not okay. Right? There's a lot of these dogmatic rules around these things. But what I got to tell you here is that our gifts are meant to be used. And for someone, the church in particular, to tell you that your gifts are evil or that they're of the devil, first of all, is ridiculous and a lie, because it's not, because everything comes from the love spirit. Everything comes from the divine. So it is a blessing. And so let's say you're born with this gift, and somebody gives you a crystal ball gown or a crystal tuxedo, depending on who you are. And you get this gift, and you're like, oh, look at this. Like, just imagine you're a little kid, you got a freaking crystal tuxedo or crystal ball gown. Yeah, that'd be a pretty big deal. That'd be pretty sweet. You would want to use that gift. Now, let's say that you have this gift, and somebody tells you, oh, that gift is evil. If you use that gift, you're gonna possibly burn in hell for the entirety of your life after you've died. If you were a little kid and you heard that, you'd probably be like, I guess I better not wear the ball gown. I don't want to end up burning in hell. This is exactly what they've done. This is exactly what they've done. And people have believed it. They've believed in it. And so they've denied themselves their own power. I know many spiritually gifted people, and at some point in their life, possibly right now, they go through spiritual dry spells. Spiritual dry spells. Let's say you had a gift, all of a sudden your gift dries up, you don't get your gift anymore. Why has this happened? So it can happen for many reasons, but typically it is self-induced. It's something that we have shut down ourselves. So let's say that you've got a gift, and it's that you know what's going on with other people. And so you're like, oh, I feel like I need to go and tell this lady, I need to go and give this person this message. So let's say that you do this, and you go and you give this lady this message, and it is not well received, because that lady didn't want to hear the truth. She didn't want to hear it. And so she, shames you for telling her this thing and attacks you or something like this. So what happens in a situation like that to the person who delivered the message? They're probably going to shut down, right? They're going to be like, I guess I better not be telling people these intuitive messages that are coming, and they will start to get down on themselves. And because they get down on themselves, they shut their abilities down, right? They think, I've harmed this person. You haven't. You haven't caused anybody any harm. So what happens here? Let's say that you are an intuitive and you've given 20 people, like these messages, and they're just like, oh, that's so helpful, thank you, thank you, thank you. Then you finally come across somebody and they get all defensive, and they're like, that doesn't sound like me at all. First of all, this is what you need to know. If anyone ever gets defensive about anything, it 100% is because it's something that they do and that they have not acknowledged within themselves. They don't have an awareness about it in themselves. Because if you were to call me a taxi cab right now, not like call me one, like, hey, she needs one, but if you called me a taxi cab, right, I'm like gonna laugh, right? Because I know I'm not a freaking taxi cab, haha, hilarious, good one. But if you were to say something to me like, oh, you're this, or oh, you're that, and I am unaware that I actually am that, I might take offense and I would get pissed about it. Like, maybe you would say, oh, you're a liar, and let's say that I lied or something like that. Well, if you called me a liar, and I did lie, I would get all up in arms about it. I'd be like, what? How dare you call me a liar? You blah, 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 blah. Right? Because I'm getting all defensive about something. Whereas if you called me a liar and I know I'm not a liar, I'm gonna laugh about it, and I'm gonna know you're a liar, because it's like we're a mirror. So we have. I'm working with my friend Justin, and he has come up with this new math. And this new math is literally going to change our world. He's the only person on the planet who has come up with this, and it's actually a way to improve everything, every single thing in the world, including rocket science, because he has figured out that our old math was incorrect. This is why sometimes things don't add up, right? There's these loopholes in math that's like, if you add this and do this, look, you end up with a screwy number that's not the number. It's because our math system is wrong. And he has figured out the actual, true, real math. But through him figuring this out, where was I going with this, man? Oh, great. What were we even talking about? Oh, this is going to be a problem. Okay, come back to me. Come back to me. Let me see. Okay. They will become as we are if they eat from the tree of the fruit of knowledge. So he has figured out with this math, basically it has bridged spirituality and science together. Like it's a way to prove spirituality exists. And so within this and his new math, because it's different bases for math, what has been shown is that these math equations can be drawn into a picture, like into a rendering, so that we can, here's this big math equation. Oh, well, show us a picture of what that actually represents and what it looks like. And so through these renderings, through these pictures of this new math, what has been discovered is that there are different layers to our reality, and some of them actually appear like a mirror. So if ever you've heard of a twin flame or something like this, people talk about this all the time. I don't even know this thing. But anyways, they talk about it and they say, these people will reflect back to you your inner wounds and these things about yourself that, you'll accuse people of something, but it's really about yourself, because you're seeing it in that person, but what you're actually seeing is yourself. And so what his math is proven, is shown, is that that's actually what's happening. So my ex used to, accuse me. He'd get so pissed Anytime he'd be drinking alcohol or anything like this, accusing me of cheating on him, or I don't even know. But everything he accused me of, he was doing. He was doing. I was that mirror for him. And through this science that he's got, we can actually see I was an actual mirror for him. And I wasn't doing any of the things that he was and is still accusing me of doing. He is and he was. But with this new math, we can prove that that is what is happening. It's very amazing. I'm going to have Justin come on here at some point so that, he can enlighten you as to what this math is truly about, because it's actually going to change our world. So anyways, how we started here was talking about eating from the tree of the fruit of knowledge and saying, these people will, so I'm talking about Adam and Eve here, that when she ate the apple, she was eating from the tree of the fruit of knowledge. And it said, if she eats from this tree, she'll be like us. And this is the gods talking. We are. We contain with us these mystical powers. And I'm not talking about witchcraft. I'm talking about our actual essence, our being. We are powerful. We have all kinds of healing abilities. We all have all kinds of intuitive abilities. But when you are brought up in a church or in a dogmatic tradition that tells you, these things are evil. Look at these. You can heal these people. What an evil thing this must be. But because of people's ignorance, and the fact that they don't think for themselves, people just repeat what other people tell them. Original thought, few and far between. You can tell this in the political stage. When anybody's talking about anything, all they're doing is repeating the taglines that they've seen on the news. They don't have not one original thought in their head about anything. They're just repeating things that other people are saying. This is what happens in the church. People will attend church. I'm one of them. For 30 freaking years. And you believe all of these things that have no basis in truth. None. Zero. It's like you believe, I did, the words that the church pastor was saying. It wasn't even from the Bible. So when we don't have our power, because it's been stripped from us, and because people have been telling us that this wisdom and that this knowledge, this intuitive abilities that we have are evil, we then suppress these things within ourselves, and then it causes us great harm. So me, for example, when I was around 20, we were living in this one house, and I had little kids at this point, and we're taking lots of pictures with a camera. And upon developing the film, there was always orbs in the pictures, all of the pictures. And this had been occurring just in photos of me for years and years, since I was a teenager. And it didn't freak me out then. But these orbs and this camera roll, all of the pictures were taken in my house. And I'm seeing multiple of them in my house. So it freaked me out. And I could feel something there. And so I prayed it away. I just said, I don't know what I said, but something along the lines of, make this stop. I'm done. I don't want it. I don't want this in my life anymore. And it stopped. And I went through a period of, it might have even been a couple years. Maybe it was a year. Maybe it was a couple. I don't remember. This is a long time ago now. Of nothing. And I'm talking, I could feel that whatever angels, guides, whatever protective energies, whatever stuff had been around me and was guiding me and this and that, they were gone because I commanded them to be gone, because it had freaked me out. Those were some difficult years. You don't realize how much I guess feeling alone, I like to be alone. I have ever since I was a little kid. I used to get in trouble a lot, which I see now. I was always, the one that was blamed for things, and so I would end up having to go and spend a lot of time in my room. But lucky for me, I loved it, and being alone and being in my room was not a punishment. It was a blessing. It was a wonderful gift for me. And even though I spent a lot of time alone, right, I was the youngest, so my two sisters, they would play together, and often I wasn't included in that. It didn't bother me. I truly, genuinely really liked to be alone. And I realized it wasn't until I had commanded that energy, whatever it was, to go away, then I was alone. Then I was actually alone. And I could feel it. Even though I had, kids in my house, I had people in my house, but I felt alone because that presence that was always there comforting me, giving me, guiding me, this and that, it was gone because I made it leave. And so it took several years. I think I'm trying to get on the timeline here. I'm thinking it was several years. Like I'm thinking it was 1 to 3 years, more like 3 years, because I had been going through this dry spell, and this course came up, and I was like, oh, okay, I really felt the need to do this course. However, I was afraid of it, because at that point I was very dogmatically religious. I was still attending church while I'm going through this dry spell. Not a shocker there. Anyways, so I decided I'm going to attend this course, but this course would have been completely unacceptable by my church, right? Because it's not a Bible-based course that I do. Anyway, so I attend this thing, and within the very first day, I began to realize, like, oh, dude, like, I got abilities, and they are something. And I had just never been trained. I'd never been taught how to correctly use my abilities. And through this, it was just that. It was the very first day of this course that it was like, whew, I'm back on track. And I have been ever since. And I realized what a beautiful gift it is to have the Spirit. And so if you have been going through a dry spell, it is for a purpose, and it's to teach you to appreciate it when it does come back, and to honor it, and to cherish it, and to never let it leave ever again. I was working with a woman, this is probably like 10 years ago now, maybe not quite, and same deal, that she had these gifts and kind of got all stressed out, and all of a sudden her gifts are gone. And it's almost a feeling of panic. It is almost a feeling of panic when you don't have your intuitive gifts. And the reason why is because during that time you are so disconnected from the divine, and from the divine love that is there, that you feel depleted and you feel empty, and it drains your energy, because you don't realize how much energy that you have in your life that's actually just coming from the divine love. All of it. That's where it's coming from. Any life-giving energy that you have, it comes from the divine. And so when you go through those periods, you're not only probably going to feel depressed and bummed out and feel alone and all the things, but your energy is going to be low, because all the energy that you typically have, you're getting from the divine. So why am I telling you this? Because you have gifts. And if you are not using these gifts, then it is detrimental to the people around you that could be benefiting from them. You could be benefiting from the karma that you'd be putting out by helping other people with your gifts. And your gifts are certainly not evil. They are only from the divine love. Something that benefits somebody else is made and created out of love. So here's what I want to tell you. Figure out what gift you have. Are you a seer? Are you a hearer? Are you a knower? Or do you feel? What do you think? What pulls you? And then whatever it is that pulls you, do a little exercise. So what you could do is you could take, let's say, 4 pieces of paper, and you could write people's names on them, people that you know. And so like your sister, your brother, your whatever, mom, dad, whatever. Write their names on it. Then you take that piece of paper with their name on it and you just hold it. And you just hold it and you just think about their name and you just hold on to it for a minute. And then you close your eyes and then you wait and tune into that person's energy and you just pray to the divine. You say, Divine, please give me some words or something for this person, whoever's name it is that's there on your card, something that could benefit them. And then when you close your eyes, you're either going to get a vision, you're going to hear something. Now this doesn't come from your actual ears, it comes from like a little bit up above your ears. It's where your thoughts are in your head, but that's what we call the hearing. Or you're just going to know something, or you're going to get a feeling about something. And this is how you can practice this and do it with each of those names and develop these gifts, because we're here to help people. All of my friends, every single one of them that is a spiritual friend of mine, I can call them up and I can be like, hey dude, will you tune in and just check on this for me? And they'll be like, yeah, give me a sec, I'm out having a hairdo. And then an hour later you'll get a thing and they'll be like, yeah, this is what I got for you. And I do the same for them. But there's really not any friends that I have, maybe one, that doesn't do this with me. And everybody else, they do this. And it's because we help and we practice with each other and we develop our gifts, because what a blessing it is. What a blessing it is. So be a blessing to somebody else and use your gifts. And if for some reason you think that they're evil, let's say that you're a medium, and you think, that, communicating with these spirits because the church told you that, it's bad. Okay, well, think about this for a moment. If you had some person and they are going through grief like you could not believe, and they're just not getting any better. It's been, 8-9 months since this person has passed, and they are just beside themselves, and they are stressed, and they can't sleep, and they whatever's going on with that person. If you could tune in to that person's loved one and you could give them some kind of message that's going to let them know, hey, man, they're okay. And they hope that you're okay, or whatever message it is that that person has to tell them. If you could do that for them, what a beautiful, divine, loving gift that this is. And for someone to tell us that these things like mediumship or this or that are evil, it's just pure ignorance. And so I have compassion for these people, because I understand. I was there at one point too. My own father told me, he was very into the religious dogma, and he told me all kinds of things like, good thing you believe this, because all these other billions of people are going straight to hell because they were born in the wrong religion. Well, you better not think about that or do this or speak about this or that, because man, all these people are going to end up in hell. They thought my own mother, because she could witch for water, thought that she was some evil woman. This is science. Dudes, like, you're holding on these copper wires that cross when you're going over water. This is science. And they're telling my mom, what an evil woman. What an evil woman, because she could find water. Well, you know what? The divine wants us to have water, right? The divine wants us to have water. And so the divine gave us brains in our head, most of us anyways, so that we could do things, so that we could find that water within the earth. What a beautiful, wonderful blessing this is. And so anytime that we have these gifts, they are always, 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 always a blessing, unless they're used for evil. Meaning there's a bad intent, a bad intention held behind the delivering of the messages. This is something that could be seen if you were to, let's say, go to a psychic or go to tarot readers, and that they're going to tell you something negative, or they're going to read you the bad thing. Well, what has happened in this is that they've cursed you, right? They've put some thought into your head that now you're going to be afraid of, that now you're going to think about, that now you're going to manifest, and now you're going to create in your life. But they did this to you. So, yes, it can be used for good and it can be used for evil, but you and me, we're only blessing people all the time. So when we're delivering messages, we're only giving them the true messages, and there's only beautiful love in the truth. Always, 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 every time. So if you've got, some particular gift that you're like, ooh, that's my thing, practice that one, get good at it, but develop the other ones too, because mine used to be just purely a knowing and a seeing. And I would see these things, they would happen, I would dream about them, whatever it would be, or I would just know without any doubt that, some particular thing was going to happen, but I wouldn't get the feeling and I wouldn't hear. And so then through practicing over the last, 10 or so years, I've gotten good at pretty much all of these gifts. Let me give you a hot tip though here. Here's just something that's interesting that I thought was really interesting. And it's in that book I was talking about earlier. So if you happen to be clairvoyant, meaning that you're a seer, you have visions, then you probably like to have the lights on in your house. And you probably like to have them on before you ever even enter the room that you're going into, because you need to be able to see what is there in front of you. And it's a feeling of comfort that you get when the lights are on, and it feels very uncomfortable if the lights are off. Now, if you're clairaudient, meaning you hear, then you will be very disturbed by loud noises. If the TV's too loud, if something's too loud, you are immediately just going to get, stressed out, because you can't hear. Your ability that you need is being blocked because there's too much noise going on. So these things are really interesting, and they're wired into us. We are just made this way. So whatever your gift is, it's a beautiful, wonderful blessing from the divine, and I hope that you honor it today. And that book, one more time, is called You Are Psychic by Pete Sanders. I almost didn't buy it because even the word psychic back in the day, gave me the, I don't like that feeling, because I was so embroiled in the dogmatic church teachings that even certain words like that, invoked fear, which I realized, church is just preaching fear, which is the opposite of what Jesus was preaching. Why are we teaching the opposite of what Jesus was preaching in the church, when all he was teaching about was the love? And then he would prove the love through healing the people. He'd say, the only thing that's here is love. And then the church goes on, and all they do is preach fear. So something is going on there. There's some kind of disconnect, but you already know that. Anyways, I hope you guys have a wonderful day today, and take care, and I will see you guys in the next one. Have a good night.